welcome back to my channel Gabbabetic, and welcome to today's video. So today's video is a little get to know me more Q&A about type 1 diabetes and celiac disease, and I'm also doing a giveaway. So I'll talk a bit about the giveaway at the end, but it's basically in celebration of hitting 1,000 subs and actually almost 1,500 at the moment. So thank you so much to anyone who subscribed and to people who've been subscribed for a long time. It means a lot. So I wanted to just kind of put up a little get to know me box. I put it up on Instagram and my YouTube, and I got a lot of questions, so I'm going to answer them now, and hopefully you'll get to know me a little bit more, and I'll have a little giveaway at the end to say thank you for following my channel. Hope you liked the video. If you do, please give a big thumbs up, comment down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And let's start on the first question. Thanks to anyone who did ask me a question. Obviously I'm going to keep it anonymous in the video. First question here says, is it more difficult to deal with celiac disease or diabetes in Ireland today? And I think this is a hard question. It did make me think. In terms of the diabetes, I think if I was to say which is easier, being diabetic or celiac, you'd probably be surprised. I would probably say it's easier to be diabetic. Maybe that's just because I control my diabetes, and I feel with celiac disease, you're kind of at the mercy of other factors sometimes. Like, you're at the mercy if you go to a place and trust that it's gluten-free, that it is. Whereas if you're diabetes, you know, things can go wrong, of course, but at least you can control it as much as you can. You know, you decide how much insulin to take. You can hopefully treat yourself if you have a low blood sugar or high blood sugar. I just feel like there's more control when you're diabetic than there is with celiac disease. I feel with celiac disease, you know, you have to rely on a lot of different things and just hope that there's something gluten-free. And I think, especially in Ireland, it's harder to be celiac than in the UK. Places are getting better, but the range of food in the shops is a lot more limited than the UK. There's not as good stuff. Now, there is gluten-free food in the shop, there's just not as much range, and I think that's really sad. So that is a definitely harder part of living in Ireland. I can say this because I've lived in both Ireland and the UK, so that's kind of how I know. Also, in terms of going out, like, I just feel like in the UK there was a lot more gluten-free options than there is in Ireland, or sometimes in Ireland they don't advertise it as much on the menus. I think personally celiac disease has more of a social impact than diabetes. You know, you don't have to share that you're diabetic, and oftentimes, like, I wouldn't, and if people see a CGM on my arm, or if they see me taking insulin, then they might know I'm diabetic, and maybe they'll have a question or maybe they won't. But like with celiac disease, say you're at a new job and you're all going for lunch, like, you have to kind of make it known, all right, I'm celiac, can you find somewhere that's gluten-free? Whereas with diabetes, like, you can just control your own diabetes, take your insulin there, do your blood sugar there. So it does kind of make people uncomfortable being celiac in like new social scenarios, and a lot of people stray away from that. So yeah, I personally think both are really hard, being diabetic or celiac in Ireland, but I think it's probably a little bit more difficult to deal with the celiac disease in Ireland. Next question, how long after being diagnosed diabetic were you diagnosed celiac? Like, basically, I think I talked about this maybe in my diagnosis video. I had like the worst kind of year of my life when I was diagnosed, because I was so sick, undiagnosed. If you want to know about that, you can look at my diagnosis video. I'll link it down below. But I was diagnosed diabetic in July 2008, and then I think I was diagnosed celiac very early in 2009, maybe like February, around then. Don't know the exact date for that. It's weird that you have a diversary for diabetes but there's nothing for celiac. I don't know if people that are celiac have like a celiac-versary or something, but I'd say about 6 months after being diagnosed diabetic, I was diagnosed celiac. And I didn't have like symptoms of celiac, but obviously I was celiac, and why I wasn't having symptoms was because I was so unwell being an undiagnosed diabetic. So they were doing tests for everything when I got diagnosed diabetic because I was so sick, and that's how they found out about the celiac disease, and that's why I went for a scope and I found out that there was damage to the gut. I did get diagnosed celiac, and I've been celiac ever since. Here's a fun one. This one says, what's the crack? And if you don't know what that means, it has nothing to do with crack. It just means what's going on, what's up. This is like Irish slang for like what's up or how are you doing. And what's up in my life right now is I started a new job, and I'm doing that, and I'm trying to keep my YouTube going. So I'm very grateful for anyone who watches my videos and subscribes, because it's hard to fit in the time now. It's a bit hard, but I still want to keep my channel going. Other things going on at the moment, I have Miss Lana, who loves to stay in the office, who's asleep right there because she had a great day playing outside in the sun with me. We have her like over a year now, and she's like 1 and a few months old, and she's just great. And the diabetes is going okay. It's definitely a lot harder when you have a big change, like going back to work, to get your diabetes to work with you. So been struggling a bit with that at the moment, but hopefully it will settle down. But yeah, other than that, things are going good. And that's what's the crack. That's one thing you wish people knew about celiac disease. I wish people knew that celiac disease is an autoimmune disease and not an allergy. People, for some reason, don't take celiac disease seriously, and I really just don't know why. Like, people seem to think if you say like you're gluten-free and celiac, they think you're just like one of those fad people that you can eat a little bit of gluten and you'll be fine. Like, it's not like that. It's an autoimmune disease. It has autoimmune symptoms and can trigger really bad reactions, make people really, really unwell. That's one thing I wish people would take more into consideration, that it is an actual autoimmune disease, and also that no one asks to be celiac. Like, people seem to think, oh, you're just one of those gluten-free people. If I could eat all the food with gluten in the world, I would, because there's definitely foods that I miss, and there's definitely times where I've really limited choice on the menu, or I have to do a lot more planning for a trip or a holiday, or I have to just be in uncomfortable social situations and like telling people, oh, I'm celiac, I'm different, I have to be gluten-free, and them not taking you seriously is really, really frustrating. So that is one thing I wish people would know. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease and it can make people very sick, so you do have to take it seriously. This one is an interesting one. It says, are your insulin and CGM covered by your insurance? So this is probably from someone in America who has insurance to cover their insulin supplies and diabetes supplies. It's really different in Ireland and the UK. In Ireland and the UK, insulin is free and all of the other diabetes medications that you need are also free. In the UK, you actually even get a medical card, which means if you get sick from something else, say like something that needs an antibiotic, you get that for free. In Ireland, it doesn't work like that. So in Ireland and the UK, all of your insulin diabetic supplies are free. The CGM is the only difference. So in Ireland, you can now get Dexcom G7 straight from your doctor, whereas you used to have to get the G6 from the HSE and apply for funding and meet the criteria. Now you don't have to do that anymore. You can just get the G7 straight away on prescription, which is great. Don't know how it works in the NHS in the UK, but usually you might have to self-fund for a short while or meet certain criteria to get the funding. But I'd say like a lot of people have it by now, and I'd say like that's how I started off with the Libra. I had to self-fund, prove that I helped lower my HbA1c, and then I got it for free. But it just blows my mind like how different the care is from the UK and Ireland to say America. Like, I couldn't imagine having to deal with the stress of making sure that my insulin supplies were covered by an insurance or I wouldn't be able to afford them. Like, that's just absolutely crazy. Obviously insulin should be free for everybody, and all of the other diabetes tech, like people forget, like all these blood sugar monitors, their supplies, Dexcom, CGMs, needles, they all have to be paid for if you don't have the luxury to live in a country that does that, which blows my mind. So I'm very lucky that I live in Ireland and my diabetes supplies are paid for, my CGM is paid for, I don't have to pay for anything. So yeah, I just wish it could be like that for everyone. Like, it's crazy how it's not. Do you find people still don't know the difference between type 1 and type 2? Yes, 100%. And it's very frustrating. I really wish type 1 and type 2 were called different things, because it's such a different disease and experience, I think, from a type 1 person to a type 2. And I know there is a bit of tension between the type 1 and type 2 community, so I'm not going to go into that. But, you know, I've had people look at you weird, like if you're diabetic, and think, oh, you're too young to have that, or just imply that you're a type 2 and stuff like that. Is no known cause for type 1. Maybe it's genetic, maybe it's viral. We don't know. Type 2 we do know to some extent. It's to do with overweight, activity levels, and insulin resistance. Type 1, totally different. So it is very frustrating when people confuse the two. And also, people just don't seem that knowledgeable about type 1 in general. Now, I don't know, like, maybe it's just because they've never been exposed to it, but like, I've just had people be completely like mind blown that you've had to like monitor your blood sugars and take insulin and have a glucose monitor on your arm. They don't realize there's so much to it, and that's fair enough, because if you're not exposed to it, how could you know? But some people do have a level of ignorance and just think like, oh, you did that to yourself, which is just a really inconsiderate way to be. I really wish, the one thing I really wish is that type 1 and type 2 were called completely different things, because there's just so much difference between them. I feel they're two totally different experiences, and you know, it's just difficult trying to explain that to someone who doesn't really know about diabetes as well. So if we could change the name, that would be a lot easier, make a lot of type 1's lives a lot easier, I feel too. The final question, and thank you so much everyone who sent me in a question, is diabetes care better in Ireland or the UK? And I'm sorry to say, but I actually think it's better in the UK. Like, I'm sorry for anyone Irish watching this, but I really think it is better in the UK. I know there are issues with the NHS, but I thought the diabetes care was a lot better over there. And here's why. So when I moved back to Ireland, I couldn't see a diabetes nurse for like nearly a year, which was crazy. I had to pay privately and still pay privately to see a consultant because there are no public consultants, and the waiting list is like 2 or 3 years long, which is insanity, especially if you want to get approved for a Dexcom G6, which at the time I needed to be, so I had to pay privately to go and see one. Whereas in the UK, when I moved over, I was given a medical exemption card straight away. So all my diabetes and anything else I got sick with was covered. I got to see a diabetes consultant twice a year, and even when COVID kicked in, it was a phone call, so I still had appointments. I also had a diabetes nurse up at the doctor's surgery that I could just go to, and they would even text me to remind me to come for blood tests every 3 months to check my HbA1c. Like, that's never happened here. And I also was able to go to a diabetes community nurse, which was if I had like specific issues I wanted to talk about. For example, when I started running and I wanted to talk about exercise and diabetes, I saw them for like maybe 2 or 3 times, and we talked about that specific issue and overall diabetes as well. So like I had 3 levels of care there. I've seen people a lot, definitely getting monitored a lot more regularly. In Ireland, it's kind of on you. Like, you have an appointment with the endocrinologist if you pay privately every 6 months. It's up to you to get your blood tests done in between them. You have to book them, nobody's reminding them. You have no regular interaction with the diabetes nurse unless you want to see them, and it's usually only if there's an issue or an emergency. So it's really bad, but like, I think it's definitely better in the UK. And also they seem to have better tech. You can't get Omnipod in Ireland, which is a wireless insulin pump for anyone who doesn't know, and I think that would be something that I would actually personally like. I've never had an insulin pump, but the thought of having one that is tubeless seems really good. And also I feel like they have Libre 3 over here in Ireland. We don't even have Libre 2, and also Libre 2 you can't get in Ireland if you're over 21. I just feel like in Ireland there's so much like legislation and these like red flags and just capped off everywhere that I just don't think it's fair. So yeah, I do think the UK is better for diabetes care. Hey everyone, thank you so much for all the questions. I hope you found it interesting, the answers. And you know, I might do another Q&A video soon. If you want one, let me know in the comments down below. But the giveaway, if everyone knows, I love a good squishmallow. Here are my squishmallows at the moment. There's my little apple juice from my diversary. Actually got a new one there recently, and pig over there. So yeah, I have a lot of squishmallows, and I was thinking for the giveaway, you know, I could do a diabetes or celiac themed giveaway, but there's people from different kind of communities that watch my channel, so how could I have something that captures both? And I thought, well, if you're watching my channel, you probably like my videos, I hope, so you probably know that I like squishmallows. So I thought, you know what, this little cute squishmallow would be a perfect one to give away. Or maybe she'll stay here. No, I actually love her. I think she's so cute. Her name is Cherry, and she's a plum. She kind of looks like an apple, but she is a plum, and her name is Cherry, and she's from the Fruit Squad Squishmallows. And I just thought she's so cute that this would be a really cute thing to give away, just to celebrate reaching 1,000 subs and to say thank you. So if you want to be in for a chance to win the Cherry Squishmallow, all you have to do is like this video, be subscribed to the channel, and leave any comment down below. You can say whatever you want, or you can just say Cherry Squishmallow if you want as well. And once you do those 3 things, you'll be entered into the giveaway, and hopefully you'll be lucky and win. And I will announce the winner of the giveaway in a video in maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, probably like 2 weeks, I'd say, around then. And that lucky winner will get to take home the Cherry Squishmallow. And I should mention that this is an international giveaway. Wherever you're living, I'll ship her to you. as a celebration, and I just thought it would be a good idea to send a little cute Squishmallow so that if you're celiac or diabetic, there will be something that suits you. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, if you want to enter the giveaway, like this video, be subscribed to the channel and comment down below so that I can enter you in it. And I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope it allowed you to get to know me a little bit more, and definitely enter the giveaway if you want to win a little Squishmallow. And like I said, open internationally. I will ship to you free of charge. Of course, the whole giveaway is free. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.